to click like, subscribe, the bell notification, and whatever else YouTube has you clicking on to support us. What's up everyone, I am the Kaiju no Kami, and this is my review for the 40th Super Sentai series, Doubutsu Sentai Zyuohger. Despite celebrating Super Sentai's 40th anniversary, Toei decided against creating another Gokaiger-like series and kept its celebratory season streamlined to just a standard Sentai show, with the exception of a two-part crossover with the Gokaigers to commemorate the show's 2000th episode. Furthermore, they hired Junko Komura, Arakawa's assistant from Gokaiger, to helm the show. How does Zyuohger compare to Gokaiger as an anniversary season? Or is that really a fair comparison to make, given that it clearly isn't going out of its way to be one? Let's take a look at Zyuohger to find out. The heroes. Before I say anything about the characters, I want to talk about the elephant in the room. Oh, sorry. Anyway, I hate the costumes to the Zyuohgers. It looks like they are wearing pajamas with helmets on them rather than actually wearing ranger costumes. They are all ugly as freaking hell. Now that that is out of the way, let's talk about the show itself. Zyuohger's main premise revolves around there being a world of humanoid animals who live on a separate plane of existence from humans called Zyuland. The only way to travel between the two worlds is through a giant cube, though you've got to wonder why no one in Japan seems to notice this thing exists. Or have they all seen Hellraiser and said, nope? Regardless, zoologist Yamato Kazakiri, played by Masaki Nakao, finds himself being transported to Zyuland and meets these animal men, only for him to be treated as an outcast. An eventual chase leads to Yamato and 4 Jumins being brought back to our world, but thanks to a monster attack, they lose track of one of the keys required to activate the cube's portal, leaving them stranded on Earth. Ah? Zyulandに戻れない? 仕方ないだろ。王者の資格が一つ足りないんだ。They are the shark Seila, the lion Leo, the tiger Amu, and the elephant Tusk. Mecha Yanagi, Shohei Nanba, Haruka Tateshi, and Tsurugi Watanabe portray this quartet. Unbeknownst to Yamato, the puzzle box that connected their worlds had been shut down for the last 20 years because one of the keys, called a champion symbol, had been stolen. When Yamato was a child, he got lost in a storm after running away from home and was rescued by a Birdman who gave him a champion symbol, which he treasured from that moment onward as a good luck charm. Naturally, no one believed him when he said he saw a Birdman and passed it off as him being scared. Thanks to the champion symbol, he reactivated the puzzle box, which is what took him to Zyuland.
The box. You opened it. We came.
After returning and finding the forest under attack by aliens, he used his champion's cube to transform into Zyuohger, which came as a shock to the other Jumins as they believed only one of their kind could access the cube's abilities. It is revealed that the Birdman had also given Yamato some of his essence, which is why he was able to harness the power of the cube. Yamato also receives a gorilla form 5 episodes in thanks to another Jumin named Larry. Ugh, at least it isn't as bad as Maji Green's muscle form. In addition, he eventually dons the whale cube that unlocks his ultimate form. I must admit, even though I do not like the Zyuohger suits at all, I am quite fond of the design of the whale form, and I don't know why. The helmet is quite striking, but I think it is the coat-like appearance that sells it for me. Plus, the whale imprint going all the way down his body and leg enhances the look. It just stands out from other Sentai costumes. As for Yamato's personality, he's easygoing and loves to help animals, which is why he is able to become friends with most Jumins instantaneously. As with many other rangers in the series, his mother is dead, while his father was a deadbeat dad who cared more about supporting his patients over raising his own son. Thus, their relationship is strained, and Yamato avoids the subject every time someone inquires about it. We also get to meet Yamato's eccentric uncle who loves to dress up in animal costumes for no real reason whatsoever, Mario Mori.
It's me, me, Mario.
Mario is played by Susumu Terajima, who brings far more character to his character than the show is able to handle. It's a shame too, because the series seemed to tease that Mario was going to turn out to be someone spectacular, someone who was hiding some huge revelation, only for nothing to come out of it. This notion is quite disappointing considering Terajima has played a multitude of gangster characters in many of his works. So giving him some sort of elaborate backstory as to why he acts the way he does could have benefited the show immensely. Instead, it's just eccentric dude being eccentric. And with some really creepy moments every now and then, as was the case when he dressed up as a cow.
牛乳飲むか？もう、いいのか？いいよ。ありがとうございます。はい、飲みなもん。
What the hell is wrong with you people?
While there is some development for our main quartet of Jumins, they aren't the most exciting group of Rangers. They are well acted, so I will give them that. However, Yamato is the main focus of the gang, while these four are relegated to being mostly around for exposition purposes. I do like them, I just wish more had been done with them. We are shown how much they long to return to their own home, specifically Sayla, who in one episode was depressed she would not be around to help her brothers celebrate their parents' anniversary together.
今日両親の結婚記念日なんだ。うちみんな忙しくてなかなか揃わないんだけど、この日だけは必ず弟と二人でお祝いしてあげてたから。
It is also interesting to see how they utilize each Juman's character trait to move an episode's plot along. Such is the case when Sayla and Leo had been kidnapped, and Yamato needed Tusk to use his strong sense of smell to locate them. Then in another instance, his heightened senses were used against him. Tusk is also the super serious, moody member of the group. He loves to point out everyone's flaws only to get mad when they reciprocate.
いくらなんでも乗せすぎだろ。これじゃ生地の味も何もない。パンケーキのこと分かってなさすぎる。What an asshole!
I should also mention that Watanabe apparently ruined his acting career by getting into a bike accident with a mother and child. And by bike accident, I mean bicycle, not motorcycle accident. So apparently in Japan, blackface is okay, but a bicycle accident? Oh no, there will be hell to pay. It will ruin your career. But blackface, good on ya. What the fuck, Japan? Sayla can hear extremely well, which is a blessing in one episode when the Rangers had been knocked into a dream world and she could still hear what was happening in the real world.
今の何？
今のって？
なんか怯えてるような、助けを求めてるような叫び声。
While a detriment when it comes to a monster that could turn people into raging maniacs through music.
お前ら、指すぎ！
Not to mention Leo's loud voice drives her crazy more often than not. Speaking of whom, Leo is loud and bombastic like a lion, so he is great when it comes to tasks requiring noise. However, he is not exactly the sharpest tool in the world, as he blatantly ignored a thunderstorm that had occurred after leaving everyone's clothes outside to dry.
なんで洗濯物を干したんだ。局地的に土砂降りになるって予報で出てただろ。土砂降り？うわ、本当だ。いや、俺が空見た時はめちゃくちゃ晴れてたから。
Amu's taste buds are top-notch, which is why she loves sweets. There is one episode where she bit a monster in the leg and was able to determine that his base was along a shoreline as he had a saltwatery taste to him.
もしかしたら海の方かも。さっき戦った時、海っぽい味したんだよね。
As to be expected, there is a 6th Ranger, and my god, he can give Genta from Shikkenger a run for his status in being the worst 6th Ranger ever. I absolutely abhor Misao Mando.
Zyuoh the World!
Misao was kidnapped by the villain's leader, who wanted to create his own Zyuohger by slaughtering 3 Jumins, giving their powers to Misao.
申し訳ありません。これだけの適合者しか見つけることができませんでした。
十分だよナリア。それでは楽しいゲームの準備に取り掛かろうか。
God damn, that may be the most frightening imagery of the entire show. That is hauntingly awesome. So anyway, Masao, who yields the powers of a crocodile, rhinoceros, and wolf, starts his tenure off as a villain only to break through his evil programming and ends up becoming a good guy.
ザ・ワールド、お前。
俺はもうお前らには従わない。
Like I said, I hate Misao with a passion because every freaking time someone says something negative to him or makes a joke at his expense, he gets all depressed and cuddles down into a corner upset about it.
俺は役立たずだ。やはり仲間になる資格はない。
The problem is, it's always played for laughs. I'm not sure who thought having Naoki Kunishima act this way was a good idea, but it is completely disrespectful as it feels like it is making a mockery of those who suffer from mental illness, which is utterly disgusting. Why was he allowed to be portrayed this way? Did they just find it funny? Did no one thoroughly think what they were doing? Or does Toei just not give a damn? Either way, it doesn't matter because the end result is insulting, which is a shame as I rather like his suit design and the concepts behind him. Even the weaponry kinda sucks since outside of Yamato getting a Soul Calibur-esque sword whip, everyone just has a basic sword and gun combo. Even their finishing attack revolves around their basic equipment, which is very disheartening. Yamato does gain a hand cannon for his whale mode, which somehow sends a monster underwater as it executes its attack before they're back to normal.
On those occasions when you need to make a big splash, there's the Super Soaker 100. It has a powerful air pressure system.
Oh, Buffy!
The Super Soaker 100.
It's a water gun of a higher caliber.
As for Masao, he gets a fishing rod that can also act as a rifle and a spear. I guess they figured since they have beast molds that give them bigger claws or bigger feet, Yamato can fly, that was to make up for the lackluster weapons. Next up is the Birdman that rescued Yamato as a child, Bard, who is played by Kamen Rider Kaiza, Kohei Murakami. During the initial battle between the Zyuohgers and the Death Galleons, Bard swooped in to steal one of the champion's symbols. This allows him to also don a human form and to transform into a Zyuohger. Both he and Yamato share the same weapons and can fly around to kick enemy butt together. Lastly, there is also a crossover with Kamen Rider Ghost. Results may vary. The villains. The villains, called Death Galleons, come to Earth to make it their 100th conquered planet. And boy, are they boring to watch. Their leader is named Genis, who sits around most of the time talking about how bored he is. You know there is a problem with your villains writing when even their leader is as uninterested in his gang's affairs as the audience.
ブラッドゲーム。勝利の条件は私を最も楽しませること。
Outside of creating Zyuoh the World, he doesn't do anything remarkable at all. He's as one-dimensional as some of the worst leaders from the Showa era were. Even his voice actor, Kazuhiko Inoue, who has had a multitude of anime roles, couldn't bring any life to this insignificant boss man. Next up is the green-colored female Naria, whose job is to make the monsters grow. I feel like I've said this line before. Oh yeah, that's because I did when I reviewed Gokaiger, because Naria is basically in Siren 2.0. Maybe even worse because she's less significant.
ジニス様の細胞から抽出したエネルギーです。無駄遣いせぬよう励みなさい。
She's utterly pointless, as it does voice actress Minako Kotobuki no favors, and the only time she does anything significant is when she captures a bunch of furries only to get yelled at by Mario.
着物に加藤も上等もねえんだよ。この星を舐めるなよ。
More often than not, her character can be determined by this one scene.
私はジニス様の秘書。この方のお役に立たなければ。
The first general, Azald, is a total square. Joji Nakata's talent is completely wasted on this walking Lego set who does absolutely nothing the entire show. He will occasionally come down to Earth only to rebuild himself after getting blown up by the Rangers. I don't even think he would have survived that long had the Zyuohgers had a toddler's mouth in their arsenal. That's how inept he was at accomplishing anything. He doesn't even get a backstory until his final episodes at the end of the show. Though, there is nothing significant about it since he doesn't even actually care about who he was in the past. Fortunately, I can't say the same thing about the other general, Kubaru, who at least wanted revenge for what happened to him in the past. The problem is they never actually elaborate on what exactly transpired, so for all we know, his memories could have been pre-programmed to think that way. It really doesn't matter because he goes out like a bitch anyway.
お前たちも見ただろう。ギネスのあの凄まじく凶悪な強さを我々がいくら入ったところで無駄なのだ。
It's also too bad he was featured in a modern Sentai series because I'm sure if he wasn't, these people would have been legitimately hurt.
私が生き残るためにはこれしかない。
He is voiced by Mitsuo Iwata, who is known as Ivankov in One Piece, Toyo in Demon Slayer, Kaneda in Akira, and Champa in Dragon Ball Super. The monsters of the week, called players, are just a bunch of random idiots that attempt to perform some sort of game based on their commander's orders. They are apparently based on previous monsters of the week, which makes sense as to why this belligerent buffoon makes me think of Dora Surke from Zyuranger. Like with Gokaigers' villains being based on Sentai Mecha, sometimes you can see the references, as I just showed, while at other times, not so much. This copyright thief dances to the same samba tune the Kyoryugers transform to. Along with saying Ole as if he were an O-Ranger. The only standout player for me is a card monster who traps his victims into cards and tells people to find his heart in order to free them. What I love about this scene here is the Rangers discover all of the mini cards are explosions. And when they retort that they just have to beat him to free everyone, this happens. I'm not gonna lie, That was a pretty clever scene. The grunts are the tentacle-headed monsters regarded as amoebas. They are as inept as a real amoeba would be fighting a group of spandex-wearing superheroes. The last villain to be had is an Ahab wannabe space pirate who comes to Earth to hunt cube whale, Bunglei. Unlike Bosco and Gokaiger, Bunglei is about as worthless as worthlessness comes. His only good scene is when he is going to eat, and a player accidentally blows his meal up. Beyond that, he's quite forgettable. He does have an ability that allows him to grab someone by the head and pull out a being from their memories, which allows the show to save on its budget, for he will constantly bring back players that were previously defeated. Bunglei is voiced by Nobutoshi Kana, who is notable for playing Guts in Berserk and Knuckles in various Sonic the Hedgehog projects.
Yamato. Okay.
Sadly, his talents cannot do anything extraordinary with this lifeless waste of the viewer's time. The most exciting thing he does is refuse to join the Death Galleons. The Mecha. Like with the Ranger suits, I disdain the Mecha. They look like they were ripped out of some child's Minecraft game. It's just awful all around. They're a bunch of cubes that open up to reveal something that is supposed to resemble an animal and does a piss poor job of it. No, seriously, you do not understand how much I hate these abominations. I hate Rubik's Cubes as it is. Animal cubes are even worse. Not to mention that annoying is how voice it has to call out the respective names. The first form of the mech, Zyuoh King, is compiled of Cube Eagle along with any two of the initial four stacking together with a spear going through it to form its head. When the gorilla shows up, it piles on top of two cubes to become Zyuoh Wild. Then the six can combine together to create Wild Zyuoh King. Actually, no. They don't combine. They just stack on top of each other. But you would get bored of hearing me say the word stack every 15 seconds. There are auxiliary cubes that act as both weapons and attachments to the combined forms. Wait, why is the giraffe called a Kirin? Zyuoh the World comes into the show with his own trio of cubes matching his respective animals, with the rhino taking on the form of a semi that carries the croc and wolf. The three can form their own mech called Tosai Zyuoh. Then the 9 cubes make another stupid ass bot.
Will you shut up, man?
As if those annoyances weren't enough, we've got one last mech, the stupid ass whale that gives Yamato his ultimate form. It has its own robot mode, and all 10 cubes come together to make Wild Tosei. What is it? Yeah, try saying that 10 times fast. It really doesn't matter. They all suck. They are easily the worst mechs in the franchise, and that is saying something considering how bad the mecha has gotten in more recent years. I don't even give a damn about the mech battles, good or bad, because I don't actually care about these ugly ass atrocities that should never have made it past the initial concept stage. Wait, to be fair, for the sake of the review, there was one mech battle I did enjoy. The effects and music. The effects and music are easily the best part of the show. I won't fault the effects department for the dreadful mecha, as they could only work with what they were given. Thankfully, everything else is pretty solid for the most part. Like with Gokaiger, the CGI never got to the point of pulling you out of the show's immersion. The fight choreography may not be Zyuohger's strong point, but it doesn't mean there aren't some really good battles to be had. My favorite battle comes from this scene here of Yamato fighting a giant mech monster on his own, which gave me some O-Ranger vibes. The soundtrack being badass should surprise no one, given it is done by Time Ranger and Deca Rangers Koichiro Kamiyama. Kamiyama knows how to energize any scene, good or bad, with a rocking score. The music just rocks all around, at least for the show itself. The opening and ending themes, not so much. Hideaki Takatori doesn't match the same energy here that he had provided with the Hurricaneer opening song. There are parts of the song I like, such as this bit, while I am ambivalent to other pieces. As for the ending, let's Zyuoh dance. It's what you expect from a modern Sentai show. It's bouncy enough to get the kids to dance to it, and while it isn't anywhere near the worst ending themes in the franchise, it doesn't do anything for me. Like many other elements found throughout the series, Yohei Onishi's work simply exists. I'd rather listen to his Kira Major opening than this again if I had a choice. Still, it seemed to be a hit among kids, so I guess it worked. The episodes. While I can't say Zyuohger as a whole was all that thrilling, it did provide me with some solid entertainment from time to time, so I can't complain too much. Episodes were what they were. Some fun, some bad, the majority of them just there. On one hand, I want to straight up say the finale is my least favorite episode because it downright sucks. The final battle is a dumpster fire. Genesis Revelation is trash, and the ending itself is utter bullshit. Unfortunately, I cannot because there are still episodes worse than it that occurred throughout the show, which includes a terrible episode revolving around a sumo wrestling monster, 2 freaking clip shows, with the worst of the worst being titled The Dark Side of the Soul. The Dark Side of the Soul features a double-sided monster that can reverse people's personalities. If they're easygoing, they become hostile. If they're quick to anger, they become passive-aggressive. In concept, it sounds like it could be an interesting idea, only for the execution to be outright atrocious. Not only is this episode utterly boring, but it is so goddamn stupid as all hell. The worst part is once again Masao, who ends up taking everything the Zyuohger say to him after they've been hit by the player's beam to heart, and it causes him to flee the battle. Then later on, he struggles to walk, and all of the words his teammates say to him become physical manifestations as if this were some goddamn video game.
なんで来ちゃったんだよ、みっちゃん。
一番ダメなタイミング分かってないの？
It's ridiculous and not the fun kind of ridiculous. The only positive I have for this episode is in the way the Rangers ended up dealing with the monster, which ended up having some good choreography. Otherwise, forget this piece of shit. The best episodes of the entire show belong to the two-part crossover with the Gokaigers. That's it. That's all I've got to say. The Gokaigers are in it, and they rock. The plot does feel like it came out of a Versus movie, but it doesn't matter because once again, it's the Gokaigers. We get to see them don some of the Ranger forms for the shows that came after them. Bungley gets his ass whooped by Marvelous. Guy has a pretty hilarious moment as he is collecting Ranger keys. Luca's hair has grown exceptionally long.
そうか。よし、その辺じっくり聞かせてもらおうじゃねえか。
And there are some really good fights to be had. Additionally, it features an updated version of the Gokaiger ending theme. The only oddity is the Gokaigers forget about Navi and leave her behind in Mario's house. And then she is never mentioned again after the tale is done. Did they come get her off screen? The world needs to know. The movies. There are 3 movies to Zyuohger's name. And apparently that's all there will be now because of the bicycle accident. Remember, blackface? Okay. Bicycle accident? Nope! Not okay! The theatrical film revolves around the Zyuohgers going to a circus that is run by Jew-men who have been stranded on Earth thanks to the puzzle box's destruction. During their first performance, they are attacked by an evil ringmaster who could have been cool had he kept his human form for more than like a minute.
Now welcome folks, I mean it from the heart, because the greatest show is about to start. It's happening right here before your very eyes, and one thing's for sure, you're in for quite a surprise.
There is a new auxiliary cube animal to assist the Rangers, and they save the day. It's not a bad movie, just not exceptionally exciting.
That's the stupidest idea I've ever heard.
Following that is the Zyuohger vs. Ninja movie, which is, oh boy, a load of horseshit. It isn't the worst versus film I have ever seen, so there's that, I guess. The Zyuohgers are camping out when they are attacked by the ninjas who proclaim them as yokai. Why? Because a furry told them such. We get a long and drawn out fight sequence that leads into a mech battle with pretty much the best line of the entire movie. Okay, that was pretty damn funny. The Zyuohgers get away, which sees the ninjas chasing after them. Takaharu and Yamato are in the middle of a fight when a child interrupts their scuffle, declaring himself Takaharu's son from the future. Back to the film, the plot just turns the ninjas into complete idiots. And as if the ninjas didn't already ruin Ninja Rangers for everyone, it also now ruins Child Rangers by having Takaharu's son join in on the action.
No! God, please, no! No!
And of course there is a new mech combo because that's how these movies work. Lastly, the Q Rangers show up for a short sequence with personalities that do not line up with those found in their respective show, yet we still hear the catchphrase multiple times over in their short tenure. As I stated, this movie blows, and it blows chunks big time. The final movie is set 6 months after the events of the finale. It is a better ending than the one the show itself got. A former Death Galleon, Pakani De Niro, hosts a tournament between humans and humans in order to make money via an underground gambling ring. Yamato, Tusk, and Amu infiltrated to stop De Niro.
それは違うんじゃないかな。
そう
ま、でも楽しいくらいや。
It also features a forgotten plot between Sayla and Leo. A new form between Yamato and Bard thanks to Cube Condor. And Cube Condor also having a mech form to stack with the other cube animals. Finally, Masao finds the love of his life. Whoa, what? Nope. Oh, hell no. I am done with this series. I am giving Zyuohger a nice, generous, average 3 out of 5 grown-ups in spandex. Now you might be asking yourself why I give it a 3 instead of a 2, even though I ripped on it quite a bit. It's because at the end of the day, I was still entertained for the most part. The Ranger cast is solid from an acting standpoint, even if they aren't given that much to work with. The villains might suck, the mecha might suck, but the episodes were fun more often than not. I enjoyed myself, and that's what matters more than anything else. It's not the worst Super Sentai series out there, it's just nothing extraordinary. It definitely does not live up to Gokaiger. Until next time, bye.
Zyuohger!